Okay, welcome to another episode of That's What Dread Said, where I talk about my morning anxiety attacks that have started from panic attacks, and over the years since I've worked with them, have not only minimized to like just little one-time waves, I've now been able to transmute it to a message. Okay? So it's not as daunting. So I want to share this stuff because I don't know if a lot of people go this rabbit hole-ish and go down this deep with it, but I had to go down this deep with it. That's what Dread said. To get to the root of it. Otherwise, I was going to continue to suffer, and it just kept getting worse. I just knew instinctively I have to figure this out, or figure out a different way, because the anxiety was getting me so bad that I couldn't pull out. That's what Dread said. All right, so let's continue. I don't care. I'm not editing this. Now I'm going to be sweaty. Oh well. Okay, hold up. All right. So what I wanted to share was this morning, or not this morning, this was probably a little bit ago, but it was such a good message that I want to share it. I have to tell you a story first before I tell you about the divine message. Well, okay, here's what happened. I get my sucker punch of dread. Whoo, comes out of nowhere in the wee hours, like right when your body wakes up. And I do understand now that it's my body waking up in the morning. And because of trauma and past ways, plus this new way of doing my life that's foreign, my body freaks out. Like, it's gonna take a while. Half of my life has been being on high alert, perfectionist. Oh shit, I gotta do this, this, and this in my life, even as a child. So I have to be patient with myself. All right. That said, I got my dread. Then I felt it. It comes over me, and I try not to get swept away, and I just sit there and breathe. And then the instructions were to better get over it, were like that divine message came in, or my guides, and said, remember the grandma story. Remember your grandma in the kitchen story. Okay. And then that story got recalled into my brain, and I wasn't as threatened by this dread wave. So the feeling of the dread, or the feeling of the fear of the dread, didn't bother me. Like, I immediately snapped out of the scary feeling. Okay, so this grandma story is this. A long time ago, when my oldest kids were like in diapers, I watched my grandma. She had Alzheimer's, so we moved into her house, and I lived there, and I just thought, oh, it'll be such an honor to take care of my grandma, that even though, you know, she's going through Alzheimer's, that I'll take care of her. I don't know what I was thinking, because I'm ill-equipped. I've had no training in this, and I'm her granddaughter, so I'm taking everything personally. I feel bad for my grandma sometimes that it was me, but I was just so gung-ho, like, I'll do it. With 2 little ones, I'm sure it stressed her out. Anyway, we were doing dishes. We didn't have a dishwasher. So I was washing, she was drying this one evening. And we were just sitting there. It was kind of a nice night. It wasn't any real chaos or repeating where am I and things like that my grandma went through. So we were doing the dishes and just having a moment of silence, and all of a sudden my grandma says, "You know what? You make a heck of a housekeeper." And I was like, "Oh, Grandma, it's not very nice." I wasn't triggered by it. Even though I'm not a great housekeeper and I'm a perfectionist, I didn't take it to heart. She just out of the blue said this very mean thing, right? So I was like, "Oh, really, Grandma?" I'm like, "Well, maybe you can teach me to be better." And she paused again and looked at me with a very mean face and said, "You're hopeless." And I was like, "Okay, Grandma, it's go time." No. But I was like, that is so rude. But I laughed. I still laughed. It didn't threaten me because I knew it wasn't my grandma talking. It was the Alzheimer's talking, and it didn't threaten my being. I didn't have any doubt. Here's what it is. I didn't have any doubt inside that I'm somehow a horrible person, which, by the way, normally anything people have said to me in the past or my own self, that dialogue has been the main dialogue. Like, I'm horrible. I'm somehow horrible. But for some miraculous reason, her saying I was a hopeless housekeeper made me laugh instead. Why? Because I thought it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and it was out of nowhere, and you could just plainly see she's being ridiculous. Okay, so when I had my dread wave, let's go back to the dread wave a week ago. When I had my dread wave, my guides came in and said, "Think Grandma, think your grandma. This isn't a threat. This isn't a threat, Shelley." So I was like, okay. So with Grandma, it was ridiculous. And I immediately looked at the thought form that had come in, because what happens, I think, when I get the dread wave is I think, oh shit, I'm alive and I have to do this, this, and this, and I feel bad and I don't want to be here. You know, I don't want to do this again. So that's my first thing my body does. And everything else, I do want to be here. I do want to have fun in life again. But my body reacts like, oh shit, we're responsible for the world. Another day. And so it's conflicting one another. So my guides came in and said, tell your body, it's just Grandma that's calling you a ridiculous housekeeper. And so I did. My rewiring of my brain, I was able to shift it. Sometimes we can't, but in this instant, my brain got it, like it understood. Oh, and it went into non-threat mode. It went into this is ridiculous that there's this wave that's coming over me. I'm like, oh no, I feel afraid of this dread feeling. And I shifted. So that's just one of my personal stories that it really helped me, and that I'm so proud of myself for continuing to do this work, as they say, although I didn't feel like I had a choice. But I'm so glad that I now can have peace of mind, and I have control now. I master my emotions. I don't have to let them get swept away. And my brain is getting on board, and my body is getting more on board with learning this. So I was very happy that it's finally, because it's so stuck. So all I'm going to say to end this is, it takes time and patience. Keep going. Thank you for watching. That's what Dread said. And we'll be in touch for next time. May your dreads go away and not be with you.